Welcome to Cat Recaps, where I help you catch up on the latest episodes of Skeem Saam, 25th of September 2025. At his restaurant, Cat is clearly nervous as he checks in with his staff. He asks one waiter, "Has Councillor Ramasimola been here?" and gets a no. He turns to another and says, "Tell me," who reassures him they're ready. Distracted, Cat says, "I need to make a call," and steps aside. He phones Francois, who answers worried. "What's going on?" Cat acts casual. "Nothing much, just checking in." But then his fear shows when he says, "If something bad happens to me, give my dad this voice note." Francois is shocked. "What? Why? Did someone threaten you?" Cat avoids the question and insists, "Just listen. I'll explain when it's safe." After hanging up, Cat goes back to the floor where the waiters assure him they're ready. Watching them, he notices how tense they are. One of them says, "Yeah, it's been a busy day," and Cat nods, trying to encourage them while hiding his own dread. At Paxton's house, things are tense. Paxton tells his parents, "Shay and I had fun yesterday." His mom, Melita, just says, "Nice." He adds, "We were at the clubhouse." His dad immediately jumps in. "So that's why you came home late? You think you can do as you like?" Paxton fires back, "So what? Must I tell you every time I see my friends like I'm 12? His dad says, "That's called respect." But Melita cuts in, "Sounds more like control." The fight builds when Paxton says, "Shay's coming to fetch me." His dad shouts, "And you're only telling me now? Let him go?" Paxton yells, "Leave me alone," before Melita pushes him out of the room. Alone with her husband, she tells him that's adolescence. He calls it young love. She agrees it's sweet, but he's worried. That girl is distracting him. Melita reminds him that last time they dated, Paxton's marks dropped. When her husband warns, "If he messes up again," she coldly says, "I'll kill her." He tells her not to say that, but she insists, leaving silence hanging. Over at Lehasa's place, Pretty suggests a hike for the weekend, but Lehasa sees she's uneasy and asks if she's fine. She brushes it off as work stuff, but he says he noticed she was restless and offers, "Should I sit in the gallery to support you?" Pretty quickly says no, there's no need. She admits court triggers her, especially with a certain prosecutor. Lehasa points out how fast she said no, asking if she really doesn't want him there. Pretty insists she doesn't, and Lehasa drops it, saying he's going to shower. She's left alone with her thoughts. With Kwaito and Clement, a serious chat unfolds. Kwaito asks, "What was that with Cat last night?" Clement dodges. Pretty's not the only one who's lied for love and friendship. Kwaito admits lying for Boikie and himself. Clement asks, "Not details, but would you still lie for him?" He regrets not exposing him earlier and urges Kwaito to do it. Kwaito calls Boikie bad news, saying his poison has spread everywhere and Cat can't see it. Clement defends Cat as a good guy who doesn't deserve this, but admits he's scared since Boikie almost killed him, so he'll keep quiet. Kwaito says, "Back to Josie. I can't say the same for Cat." Clement admits, "That's what scares me the most." Meanwhile, in the library, Letetsui and her friends gossip about Paxton and Shay. Letetsuy's cousin says Shay was dressed for a party, not school, and calls her full of herself. A friend teases Letetsui, asking if she's jealous of the Joburg baddie. Letetsui denies liking Paxton, but the talk shifts to Luatel, his ex. The cousin says Luatel dumped him, but the friend adds, still, she loved him. They all agree seeing him with Shay will hurt her, and Letetsui concludes, someone's hurting. In Nkosi's office, tension rises as Peterson walks in uninvited. Nkosi threatens, "Want me to throw you out myself?" Peterson says he just came to talk. Nkosi calls him an unethical cop, but Peterson says he looks up to better officers. The fight turns personal when Peterson accuses him, "This is about me stealing your woman, the woman of your dreams." Nkosi denies it, calls her a witch, and warns him that if he continues his crusade, he'll tell every precinct about him abusing his badge over heartbreak. Peterson coolly replies, "Exactly. Balls in your court." Nkosi leaves with, "Good to see you, Sergeant," and Peterson echoes sarcastically. Elsewhere, Bra Boikie's name comes up in another office. Thabo and Lieto meet Kwaito, who asks, "Why is he sending me cryptic messages about you?" Thabo wants to know what kind, and Kwaito says they're about the brothers getting out of line. It turns out Bra Boikie is upset that Thabo applied for a catering tender without him. Lieto confirms he's involved now. Kwaito recalls Bra Boikie wanted into tenders and needed an inside man. Thabo insists Kat isn't a crook, but Kwaito warns Bra Boikie's ambition is dangerous. They all worry, Thabo about their business, Kwaito about their names and assets, Lieto about losing everything. The heavy mood sends them apart, each shaken. Later at a cafe, things seem lighter for Pretty and Lehasa. Pretty smiles, "Everything's going well. Our arguments held." Lehasa adds, "The prosecutor tried to poke holes but failed." Francois brings their drinks and Pretty compliments him. "You look better than yesterday." Francois agrees, joking he and Kobus looked like we'd gone through war. After he leaves, Lehasa says the trial was tougher than Pretty let on. He admits he didn't sleep because the prosecutor kept calling him Mafosa, a name with a heavy past. Pretty asks why it bothered him, and Lehasa reveals, "I don't think I can take your surname." He explains the shame tied to his name. Pretty sighs that she needs time to think, which Lehasa accepts. Meanwhile, Bra Boikie celebrates with an associate, praising an event's food and performances. He asks, "Has everyone been paid?" and is happy with the answer. Talk shifts to the catering tender. The associate says procurement wants to use the same caterer as yesterday, but Bra Boikie steers him away, mentioning a chef from Capsies, but dismissing him as too small for the contract. The associate agrees, and they part on good terms, though Bra Boikie's motives are clear. At Kat's restaurant, he bumps into Ziad, who asks if he's there to gloat. Kat says, "I don't brag." Ziad gives business advice, but then warns, "You think the counselor gave you that tender for free? He owns you." A shocked Kat asks, "What?" Ziad adds, "I'm warning you. You don't know what you've gotten into." Back at Paxton's home, the fight continues. His dad finds him asleep in his wheelchair and accuses him of drinking after a late night. Paxton says he texted, but his dad says that's not enough. Melita steps in, saying Paxton isn't a child. Paxton storms off to his room, leaving Melita to tell her husband, "See what you've done to the boy, Obed." He looks lost. Elsewhere, Kwaito and Thabo meet with Bra Boikie himself. Bra Boikie thanks Kwaito for a heads up about someone playing hero. Thabo promises to keep the person in line, while Kwaito pleads for Bra Boikie to leave him alone. Boikie agrees. The meeting darkens when he says Lito is gearing up for war, leaving Thabo and Kwaito alarmed. Mantuli faces a personal crisis. While reading a memo on security upgrades, she tries to call someone. When she gets through, she hears shocking news. A stroke? How? Shaken, she says she's coming to KZN right away, clearly rattled about Bukumuzi's condition. Finally, at home, Kat opens up to Mapitsi. "I don't know what I've done. I think I lost the biggest chance of my life. He feels trapped. If I talk, I burn everyone. If I stay quiet, it feels wrong." Mapitsi reassures him, but he says, "The right thing won't pay bills. It won't build my future. I'm tired of losing." Mapitsi takes his hands and says, "I'm here for you," offering him comfort in his crisis. That's all for today. Make sure to subscribe and I'll catch you in the next video.